Cash Color Campus, a high level of conversation on live hiphopdaily.tv, and this episode is sponsored by Atlantis Clothing. Everything from our Drug Lord collection to our Atlantis collection and Return to Viper collections are all available for purchase. And if you purchase tonight while watching the show, use promo code CashColorCannabis and save 10% off your entire order. And tonight I got another special guest in the building with me, man. And I definitely couldn't have my man fly through the city and not sit down with us. I mean, it'd be ridiculous at this point, man. So I got my boy Albie Montgomery with me, aka Cheddar. However y'all might know him, he's an all-around entrepreneur from as far as I've known for as long as I've known, man. He's just somebody who's always been a go-getter. So I'm blessed to have you in the studio one more time, bro.
Mecca, thank you for having me. Thank you. First, I want to thank you for having me. And I appreciate what you've been doing.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man.
And shouts out to Live Hip Hop Daily.
Oh, always shout out to Live Hip Hop Daily.
Shouts out to Herb, man,
for providing
this
the
place.
Space.
Is beautiful. Look at this place, man.
Bro, I told somebody a couple of days ago. I said every time I come up here, it looks more and more like a TV studio. Like,
this vibe is lovely, man.
Yeah,
it's an experience.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Probably one of easily the better experiences in Atlanta, but I ain't gonna start that beef and have a bunch of people in my comments, man. But Al, man, for those who don't know, I mean, you have been on the episode before, but just please introduce yourself and let people know what you do.
Like you said, I'm an entrepreneur, man. My name's Albie Montgomery. They call me Cheddar. Entrepreneur.
It's crazy. I'm thinking of my cousin right now, man. Shout out to my cousin Touche. When we first saw you on the show, he was like, man, I've been seeing Albie hustle since motherfucking basketball court days out there, just having hot dogs. That nigga was always getting to the money, dog.
So now I'm at the point where it's like, when I not like I'm always thinking of ideas.
Yeah.
But at the moment of phase one, when you actually bring the idea to life, it's past the business plan. It's like, you're actually in operating stage. It's 18 months for me.
Yeah.
After 18 months, I'm on to the next one.
On to the next one.
So I had to develop like the right people and and the right operating system within the business that I'm creating, so I can go on and do what's next.
Yeah. So last time we was chopping it up, we was talking about the cannabis space, man. You were one of the few people blessed in the city of Boston, Massachusetts, to have an actual social equity license.
True.
So where are we at right now with that? Like, are you still active with that, or what's up with that?
Oh, very active, very active. I'm in a great space.
Okay.
And just say that. Just say that. I just can't speak too much, but extremely active though.
You was one of the people, one of the few people I actually could speak to who actually got one of those licenses, man. What was it like when you found out that I was able to be able to do this?
Yo, it's like the biggest wolf ticket ever. Because it was a situation where they gave you like this opportunity to get into this multi-million-dollar industry, billion-dollar industry, and you had to own 51% of it. So, and the thing about it is, it's two businesses, because the first business is actually owning the property. So the property has to be owned outright because the cannabis is still not federally legal. So to own a property in Massachusetts, you're talking $1 million plus.
Yeah.
So that's just a business within itself. Now, if you're talking about cultivation, 5,000 square feet, that's $1 million. If you're talking about dispensary, that's another 500,000. So there's two different businesses. So to own, if you're giving me social equity, and you want me, how do I retain 51% of something when I need 1.5 million minimum to be in this industry?
It's like, well, where are you gonna get the money from? And like you said, the minute you start getting that level of money, you're no longer in the space of owning 51%. You're about to be either become a 50-50 owner with somebody, or you might become less than that. You know what I mean?
So here's the funny part, or the interesting part rather. So what happened is, so they rolled this plan out, but no, they don't see enough people that look like us in the industry. So there's an issue. So they say, okay, we're going to create delivery. And in the delivery, you can buy from a wholesaler and go directly to a retailer. It's not like an Uber situation, it's direct. So it really doesn't cost a lot to really just store your cannabis somewhere, your flower somewhere, have a couple of vehicles and run them and drop them off. It's small maintenance, so it's easier to get into. Now, the dispensaries are saying, hey, here's 1.5. They won't give you 1.5 for a grow, but they want to give you 1.5 for this delivery, because they can't get in. So now all the money's flowing.
Yeah, it would make sense. You know what I'm saying? If you was a dispensary owner, you seeing somebody pop up with a delivery, you would want to get involved in that business. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're just a business person thinking from a business level. I'd want to touch that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to see them
All
getting all this
cannabis
money.
users want their cannabis delivered.
Yeah.
You know, that's a fact. You know?
Yeah, and the delivery is something that I'm definitely watching open up in Massachusetts. You know, shout out to Roland Relief, man. Shout out to my man Devin. I know he's been really on the forefront of that as far as making sure that it stays where it's at. You know, like you had mentioned about dispensaries trying to get involved. He's been one of the people making sure it stays. They help stay independent and stay away from some of the stuff that you have to deal with. You know, looking into social equity. I mean, you mentioned it's kind of a wolf ticket. I feel like I've heard this conversation several times from other people that it's almost a setup for failure in some point. Like you say, not just from the money standpoint, you walking in here with little bit of knowledge of actually how to run this entire business that's now brand new. You know what I'm saying? Like how do you feel looking at it from that perspective now that you do have it? Do you feel like the gloss is off you definitely feel like, do you feel like the gloss is off the package at this point?
Easily, definitely. So since the last time we spoke, I went to school. So I went to social equity class. So I went, and I'm certified now. So now, with that being said, cannabis is brand new. So I don't, like, a lawyer really doesn't know any more than me, because the industry, you haven't been in the industry 5 years. So 9 times out of 10, he's asking me the questions to the answers. So now at this point, it's easier to raise capital. It's easier to kind of see through, like, nah, he don't know nothing. Let me leave this dude alone. You know, he just want a piece of this. You know, so you can navigate a little easier. And with that being said, it gave me the ability to, like, zero in on, like, what does Albie really want to focus on. And, you know, and so in that space, it said, okay, just do a business plan in this direction, do a pitch deck in this direction, raise capital in this direction. And with that focus, it kind of helped me kind of zero in exactly where I want to be in the industry.
So does that mean that your focus is moving away from dispensary and into something else?
Definitely.
Okay. Without giving us too much information, where do you feel like you're going to pivot into next?
Well, naturally, from being in the long ways, I'm in products, I'm in manufacturing, I'm in distribution. I would rather just stay in that, like, not dealing with the public.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the ideal space.
Yeah, and do you feel like that's an easier space for you?
That's like, as a business owner, that's like the most comfortable space for me to operate. I don't like dealing with the public. I like to have my time. When you have a business that, you know, like a cash business, or you deal with the public, now you're on public time.
Yeah.
You know, whatever operating times are, you're on that time.
Yeah. You know, you brought up something, I just now thought about it, how much it costs retail space. Like, that's a whole nother industry in cannabis in itself. And I'm thinking about how last time I was in Boston, I had a chance to go to Pure Oasis, is it, down in Grove Hall?
Yes.
And that's all I kept thinking of. Like, yo, I went to school around here. Like, I remember when this wasn't nothing. But now this is definitely something. I was wondering, even when I walked in there, how much it costs for y'all to rent this bitch? It can't be cheap.
Yeah.
That's that real estate alone is a killer, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, Boston is an expensive city.
Yeah, it's never not been. But,
Yes.
you know, add in the fact that now people want to get into weed, you could definitely jump up some prices, especially if you call yourself trying to have one in Mattapan, in Dorchester, and Roxbury. Them prices going to jump quickly.
So you got to remember, you have to own a property. So the minute you go into the deal and you don't know if the city is going to say okay. So the minute you go into the deal, if you tell the land or the seller that, you know, you put cannabis, you know, well, he's already thinking, oh, I'm gonna jack the price.
Yes,
so it's already in his head. Yeah. So you're trying to go in and say as least as possible to get a letter of intent and get something on paper that, you know, we're gonna do some business, and see how you can go as far without giving up everything.
You know, I always love the knowledge that you have and the knowledge you keep seeking. Have you looking into using mentorship as another revenue stream, like you actually giving peer mentorship to other people about how to navigate around this industry, when to know when to pivot, things like that?
Like I have, but I just haven't had the time. So I do, but I just don't do it on a large platform. But I'm probably constantly giving out, you know, mentorship. You know, motivational, like, techniques. People call me. You know, I got a brother, he owns a REM company. He'll call me like, yo, how should I move in this direction? Another brother, he owns a trucking company. What should I do next? And they're both older than me. You know, they're in their 50s, and they'll reach out like, yo, just, you know, what's the right move? And they're like, damn, thank you.
Yeah.
They're like, I didn't even call you for that, but word. You know, so just checking in. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's how it is.
Yeah, man. So I know we had spoke prior to this, and I know you got a lot of things cooking up. I know some of them I want to talk to, but I can't talk to about right now.
I'll speak on anything. Whatever you want to speak on, please.
Bro, let's talk about this media shit, man. Because, I feel like media is the one thing that we really, really should have ownership with, especially in this cannabis space. It goes a long way when it comes to changing narratives. It goes a long way for us to just be in place. Like, I had to take a survey today for a conference, and they asked me, what do you feel like we're missing the most when it comes to diversity? And I said, editor rooms. You know what I'm saying? Like, you walk into some of these magazine places, some of these publications, you might see black faces on the screens, but where are the black people in this business, so who make these decisions? I feel like media is one of those key things. You do as well. What are we working on media-wise that's going to help us make sure that we have a proper space, we have proper footing in this space?
Okay, so you've been doing your research.
Oh, you know I have.
So what it was is, like, in the cannabis space, I was having a hard time.
Yeah.
I was like, man, why is it so hard? Since then, I started this business. I went to DR. I changed this company around. I'm moving with these other businesses, but in this cannabis space, it's like I can't. Every time I step forward, it seems like I'm back at zero. Like I'll put these plays together and they just not panning out.
Yeah.
So once I did Cheddar, I said, man, just by picking up the camera, I was like this with Snoop Dogg. I was like this with Diddy. I was interviewing Russell. I was, you name it. You name the artist, the camera put me in that position. So my thought process is just grab the camera out. But this time, it wasn't grab the camera out and go film people. It was grab the camera out and introduce all these other people, who film and actually put out great content. Like, how do we get a platform where we're all being seen and we're all collecting some type of revenues too? So it's important, because what I found out, it was like when doing Cheddar, it was important to film and then make sure you was distributing DVDs and then make sure you was talking to advertisers to get, so all these jobs, it's too many jobs for one person.
Yeah.
So you have to put, like I said, you have to put the right people in place. So right now, that's what I'm at. I'm putting the right people in place for this next venture, and that's a cannabis network.
Okay.
So right now, I have 4 shows. It's looking very well, because it's looking very successful, because we've already received advertisement from dispensaries.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that was going to go like that, but dispensaries, they don't have anywhere to go. So there's so many options and there's so many shows, and if it's organized and done, structured properly, us being the trendsetters, there's no reason why they shouldn't advertise with us.
And if I can give you any free game, you in the right lane for that. Because the minute you started that, yeah, they need space. Like, there's literally no space to go to. If you do have, they do have a couple of magazines, a couple of blogs and all that shit. But seriously, there's no real place for you to advertise. The minute you create that lane, now you have a space for people to say that. So yeah, I think that when we had that conversation, I was like, bro, that's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're printing the money. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing it without having to touch the plant. You're doing it without having to worry about what laws are changing. You're doing it without having to worry about leasing and dealing with all that shit, man. So I applaud that. Like, I think it's a dope move, man.
Appreciate it.
But it's also going to be hoops and ladders to that as well. We still in a place where, I'll give you YouTube as the best example. You're in a place now where people are still hesitant on what is allowed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can go as something as me just holding a blunt to me smoking a joint. Which one of these things are going to get flagged today? Like, have you thought about those type of things? Like, how are we going to get around censorship or anybody having, saying those type of issues?
So the number one thing is cannabis, it has to be in a 21 plus space. So long as whatever you're doing is in a 21 plus space, you're pretty much safe.
Yeah.
So like, the question is, I can't give out too much game, but we'll leave it like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll leave it like that.
Yeah, you got to. I watch people stumble all the time. Like a lot of folks like to put all their stuff on social media, and I tell them all the time, one, you don't own this platform.
Exactly.
Like look at Instagram like Nike. Like say if Nike opened up a social media app and said you can now post on Nike.com. Nike.com not letting you say Black Lives Matter all day. They ain't letting you smoke weed. They ain't letting you tell you they ain't letting you do any of that shit because it's a business at the end of the day. People look at this Instagram somehow like this is my personal space and forget that it's actually a business. Like same thing with Twitter, with Facebook, all these YouTubes. These are businesses. This is not necessarily your free space. So they take your shit down when they feel like it.
So about 6 years ago, I went to my YouTube account and I said, man, YouTube never give me a check. I got like 22 million views. So let me see what's going on. Hey, this is, Shutter. Can I, get some type of, monetization for, my 21 million views? Come back. I got 10 million.
They took him down.
After them videos been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
This is from 06 till, I never even looked at the YouTube. I probably after 2010, I just didn't even post anything anymore. So you already made your money. You already made your checks. You already advertised on it.
They've already monetized.
They
your
already,
content.
exactly.
Yeah,
So at that point, that's when I knew, like, nah. Like, you're completely right. We don't own it. We don't own it.
Now, I think that's the thing that people get confused all the time. You take your personal page, but your personal page, again, imagine it's Nike.com or Adidas.com, and you just posted,
That's why, like, the titles, the live hip hop
Yes.
dailies,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah,
they're
yeah.
so important.
Yeah.
Like, live hip hop, like, this is so important. You know what I mean? Because this is us.
Yeah.
And unless we take control, we can forget it because we're not in them board. Like you said, we're not in them cutting rooms. We're not slicing that tape or slicing that interview. That's not us. So we're in way more power if we're in control of it.
And we're able to branch out and add more voices. Like when we're not in the rooms, what you get a lot of is a loop of the same people. You know what I mean? Because these people are already comfortable with these folks. You already heard about them. They've already done something that put them on the map. CK, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if CK hit the radar of High Times just yet, but they hit our radar. You know what I'm saying? We're able to do those type of things. And I'm glad you mentioned the model of title. We need more titles in cannabis right now, whether it be, just them type of streaming platforms that are just for or targeted towards consumers of color, people like ourselves who want to see ourselves on screen. Yeah, so salute you for coming up with that idea, man. I know you ain't trying to give up the whole spill, but I was like, nah, he gonna give me some information about that shit, bro. We already talked about it.
Nah, I'll give you 3 more pieces. Right now the show's it's a weed game show, which is crazy. It's a couple of comedians and they bring guests on and they just talk crazy and tell jokes and it's very entertaining, very entertaining. And then there's a taste buds where they compare weed show. They compare strains. You don't know which strain is a strain A or a strain B. You get the strain and you see which one is which and which one you like, which one you don't like, and you choose which one's better. And then there's a show which is Green Carpet that I do with folks who are in the cannabis industry and have a a one-on-one discussion of how do we get more folks like you and I in the business and what do we need to do and kind of to set ourselves up to be in the cannabis industry.
Word, I was gonna say that, man. We were gonna get you behind, like in front of the camera again, man.
So that show is crazy because it was really no idea, no reason to get in front of the camera. I just didn't want that. And with that show, I knew I wanted to have these interviews, these one-on-one discussions, and what happened is the one-on-one discussion was more like a live comedy show, but you get to have this one-on-one discussion. So it's more like an experience. You come and you sit down and and it's just a live 420 friendly experience. And you're gonna get some game and you're gonna network with other cannabis people in the industry. So just trying to create that atmosphere for us to really work together and network.
Word, man. All right, man. I want to chop over with you off air, and I see we running that overtime, man. So before we get out of here, let people know how they can connect with you offline if they want to learn more. They got shows they want to pitch to you because clearly people gonna have they're gonna have ideas.
Please do. So you can hit me on Instagram at TheRealCheddar, or you can check me out at thelongway.com. thelongway.com or The Long Way Natural on Instagram as well. So The Long Way Natural on Instagram or Albie, The Real Cheddar on Instagram.
Word life, man. I appreciate you coming through, man.
Yes,
Like I said, we're gonna
thank
chop
you.
up and let's light one up and let's talk about some content.
Yeah,
concepts,
definitely,
man.
definitely. We got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about some Boston stuff. I see your Adidas, so
Oh,
shouts
you
out to
like
Three
this, right?
Stripes.
Yeah, man.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
that.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
I tried to pull out the forums, but I couldn't
You
get them out
know,
in
see,
time,
so
man.
I know you represent. I know you all the way enjoy it, and you still salute the berry. So I'm happy.
Facts,
you
facts,
know?
man. Facts.
Yes.
You know, I love the city, man. Matter of fact, I should be back up there sooner than later, man. I just like taking little trips. Like last time I was up there, I tell people the story. Last time I was up there, I made a post on Facebook. Yo, I'm in Boston. I love getting on the train. This is my whole life. So I'm jumping on the train, take the train to Forest Hills. You know, what I'm saying, take the next step to my crib. And somebody took the train down and followed us just to be like, yo, bro, I watched the show. Blew my fucking mind, my nigga.
Yeah, they
Blew my
stalking
fucking
you.
mind,
Ah,
nigga.
that's what's
Yeah,
up.
that
Salute.
shit was crazy.
Salute. So keep doing your thing,
Yeah.
man. I'm proud of you, man. And you know, you 5 years in, so I'm super proud of you. You know, I'm super proud of you. Just continue to, you know, get better and better. So keep it up.
No doubt, man. I
Please.
appreciate you coming through. And that's
Yes,
CashColorCannabis, high level of conversation on livehiphopdaily.tv.